bonus section at the end. There's a saying in San Francisco that when things are going bad, it's kind of like chewing glass and staring into the abyss. And I think that's kind of nonsense, because really there isn't any glass, and it's only your perception of things being bad that makes them bad. I think there's a kind of silver lining to every cloud, and there are ways to reframe and to see things as opportunities, even though everybody else might see them as being terrible. And if you can do that, then it gives you an advantage, because if everybody else says, oh my gosh, so there's, there's some really good examples, but the important thing is there are a few principles here that we can use to reframe things. It's going to take a lot of work to get into an incubator or investment from a VC, because there's a lot of people trying to do so. But there's also lots and lots of incubators. And a lot of this is not as such about how good you are. It's about being good and being really persistent, really patient, caring for yourself, and giving yourself the time to kind of make lots of applications, lots of conversations. I'm building, as I said, a kind of incubator myself at the moment. And in the last 2 months, I've had nearly 200 conversations. And like half of those, people just said, don't really care. This isn't very interesting or exciting. You learn from that, though. And it's really, really important not to see them negatively, because they show you what you need to change. And that helps, because you don't need to figure it out. They'll pretty much point it out for you. The tools that are useful for staying sane are on the left here. This is a statue of a 2,000-year-old Roman philosopher called Marcus Aurelius. And he and a number of other philosophers at that time developed something called Stoicism, which is really closely linked actually to mindfulness, and is basically about being aware of your own thoughts and being aware of the way in which you look at your thoughts, if that makes sense. So having this kind of higher level awareness of, oh, I think this thing is really bad. I wonder why I think it's really bad. Can I change it? So if you can find a book like maybe The Daily Stoic, that's STOIC. I'll include that in the notes. Then that's really valuable for giving you some tools to think about how you respond to things. Mindfulness is really valuable because it reminds you that something so simple as just sitting down and breathing can be very, very good and doesn't cost anything, and you can do it anytime you want to, no matter how bad things seem to be. And exercise is, I've found anyway, really valuable because it allows you to kind of vent frustration and stress. So even if things are going bad, you can kind of just run it out so that you can get back to thinking clearly. Oh, and you should notice the difference as well between stories. Like Elon Musk from Tesla says, that he works 150 hours a week. But, often this isn't even possible if there aren't even that many hours in a week. So the difference between stories and the reality. People need to look like they're working every single moment of every single day, because some other people who are kind of silly and impressionable are very impressed by that. But ultimately, it's rarely true that people actually work so hard. So it's important to work in the right way and to do the right thing, rather than just doing every single thing all of the time, 7 days a week, all the way through till 4 o'clock in the morning. If you do that, it's often impossible to think clearly about what the correct thing to do is anyway.